The Coca-Cola Company, Keurig Dr. Pepper, and PepsiCo are bringing consumers more choices with less sugar than ever before. In fact, nearly 60% of beverages sold contain zero sugar. Visit balanceus.org to learn more.
This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, and welcome to Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network powered by Raven International. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, the Dream Coach. This is a show where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love and rediscover the truth of who you really are. In my years of doing dream work, I've noticed a curious phenomenon. Almost all the dreams I'm asked about or called on to interpret would be what I call dark dreams. Not nightmares necessarily, but dreams that have a narrative that deals with issues or events that have a serious angle to them. It's rare that someone will tell me about a dream they find funny or one that just simply puts a smile on their face. Is it just me, or is it something that all dream workers see? Well, we're going to explore the benefits we can get from all dreams, including the happy ones, with dreamworker practitioner Katherine Bell. Katherine has been working with dreams for over 20 years, hosts a weekly radio program on dreams, and is the founder of Experiential Dreamwork. Welcome to Dream Power Radio, Katherine.
Thank you, Debbie. So glad to be here.
Oh, it is my pleasure. Katherine, do you find yourself dealing more with the bad dreams than the good ones?
Oh, absolutely. It's a natural human tendency. I can remember sending dreams to my coach years ago, and I put like a little star by the ones I wanted to be sure to look at. And always the darkest and the most terrifying dreams would get the star. And like, well, what about the one where I'm like gazing into his eyes, or where, where I'm playing happily on the beach? I have those dreams too. And I would like to learn to pay more attention to them. And I think we all should learn to pay attention to those happy dreams.
Yeah, well, why is it, do you think, that we just focus more on the nightmares or on those dark, serious dreams?
Yeah, well, I think part of it is human nature, and that we are survivors and we're descended from survivors. So there's a huge evolutionary advantage in paying attention to scary things. Like we can forget about, a beautiful watering hole, like fruit over here, or, mate potential. We can forget about 10 wonderful opportunities. But if we miss that one tiger, then we're dead. So there's some way that we really have to pay attention to the things that are dangerous, much more than the things that are life-giving and fun.
So you see, fear is a factor then.
It is. And, fear is very, very useful survival factor, and that the fear is something that is very helpful to us. And so it's something that we do pay attention to. And so when we have a fearful dream, it's natural for us to pay attention to it. But says there's another factor, Debbie, that I want to bring in, that is that dreams are something that help us work out our difficult feelings. They help us decide our dilemmas. They help us understand morally what's going on. And there's there's a way that I think of dreams as they are part of our emotional immune system. And so it's natural that the topics that the dreams are dealing with would be ones that are difficult, or ones that we can't resolve on our own. So that's another factor, that even if you objectively look at your dreams, I think more dreams, and I've seen studies that say this too, that more of our dreams do deal with difficult topics than the ones that deal with happy topics.
But you just said something I want to double back on and get a little explanation of. You said it's our emotional immune system. Could you define that for me?
Yes. So there's been various studies that I've read that say that there's one study I really love, which is a nap study, which was done by Matthew Walker up in Berkeley, and where he takes people into the lab and they get to nap, and they have just like a 90-minute nap, and either they dream or they don't dream during the nap, and they're hooked up with electrodes so the scientists can find out whether they dream or not. And the people that do dream during their nap wake up in a more positive emotional state than the ones who don't dream. And so it isn't the sleeping per se that's making us feel better, but a lot of what's making us feel better when we do sleep are the dreams. So the dreams are something that help us sort out our feelings. They bring us back into emotional balance.
That's very interesting, because so often, people will say, they don't dream or they don't remember their dreams. But a lot of times people will go to sleep not feeling at odds or not so good and wake up in a happy state. So you would say that's the dream, the unremembered dream that did that for them.
So when we talk about, I think I'm going to have to sleep on that, it's really more accurate to say I'm going to dream on that. And so help me sort out my decision, help me sort out my mood. So there's something really important about dreaming that, as far as we can tell, all mammals seem to have periods during their sleep where they have the rapid eye movement that humans associate with dreaming. So you can't ask your dog when they wake up, like, so what were you dreaming about, or were you dreaming? But we're pretty sure that most mammals, probably all mammals, do dream. So there's something really important about dreaming that's so important that it takes up this amount of energy in our night. And for mammals have been around for 200 million years. And so I think it's safe to say that dreaming has been around for 200 million years. So there's something incredibly powerful about dreaming that the species has, and all the mammals have decided they should preserve this, that this is helpful. This is where we're going to put the energy on. There's a whole nother tangent coming up for me having to do with unremembered dreams that we don't remember. And that those dreams, I believe, are still doing the work that the dreams that we do remember are. That the dogs don't think about their dreams, as far as we know, and yet the dreaming is something that was been preserved throughout all this time. And so there's something valuable about dreams, whether we even remember them or not. And so we get like little glimpses of dreams, like, I remember maybe four dreams a week or something, and yet I'm having 4 or 5 dreams every single night. Most of those dreams I don't remember. So that's good company with people who don't say they don't remember dreams. Research is showing that they do dream, but maybe they're just not remembering them. And the dreams are still doing the work, even if you don't remember your dreams.
Yeah, that is so true. Although if you do remember the dreams and work with them, you get so much more out of them.
Absolutely, yes.
This is why I encourage people, please write down your dreams as much of it as you can, because there are nuggets in there.
I totally agree with that. Absolutely. It's been my experience. There's a saying, I think it's Angela Zarian says that the dreams that we don't remember are the ones that spirit is working on, but the dreams that we do remember are for us to work on.
A wise thought, indeed. So I want to get back to the topic of the happy dream. How would you define a happy dream?
Well, I take a pretty broad view of happy dreams. And I actually been thinking lately that one of my approaches to dream work is kind of a treasure hunt. And that I'm looking for the gold. I'm looking for happy moments, even in more difficult dreams. So any moment where there's a feeling of peace, of connection, of love, any moment where there's help, somebody's helping us. I would define that even if I'm asking for help, even if the help doesn't come, the fact that I'm willing to ask for help, in my mind, makes it a gold star dream. Because so often I'm like, I can do it myself. I'm fine. I'm independent. But when I ask for help, it's very vulnerable and it's very relational to open myself up to that possibility that someone might say no. I mean, it's scary to ask for help. But any time that there's like even a kind of eye contact, or even a moment where there's like a knowing glance between you and somebody else, or sitting together and eating food. A friend had a dream recently where they were flying a plane, and sitting behind them was this person. They never really interacted with the person, but that person was there as support. And this was like, this was connection, even though they weren't actually looking at each other. They were there together, and there was support. So like if she really needed help, he'd be there.
Tell you, one of the hardest things I had to learn in my life was to ask for help.
Yes, it's very hard, isn't it?
I was always, I can do it myself. I don't need any help. And discovered that, wow, you know what? There are people there who really do want to.
It's a gift. It really is a gift when we ask somebody else for help, because think of all the times that you have helped somebody else. It feels good to help another person. So it's a reminder. I'm constantly reminding myself that it's really a gift for me to ask the other person to help me. Because I forget.
Yeah, and then when we're asking for help in our dreams, we're asking ourselves, giving that gift to ourselves. So on your website, you tell the story of your dream about zebras. So tell us about that, because it sounds like a happy dream to me.
Totally. But it was interesting. It was one of those dreams that was kind of neutral. So it wasn't a bad dream, but it wasn't like really super clear what a good dream it was. But what the dream was is just a shard, just like this fragment of a dream. But I'm standing on a savanna, and I'm looking at the savanna, and there's like two zebra backs kind of crossing in front of me. And I can see like one zebra is here, one zebra's there. And that is the entire dream. That's it. I'm standing there, but they're only about 10 feet away. They're pretty close. So they're not looking at me, which is interesting because wild animals will like look at you if they're afraid, so there's some way that I felt like the zebras trusted me. Like they were like, and I actually worked this dream as part of a retreat that I did. And we had different people acting out the part of the zebras. And when I had people being the zebras standing in front of me, I'm like, oh, I'm part of the herd. And I got it. Like, oh my God, like this is my herd. These are my people, fierce and unridable. Yes. And it just became this talisman for me where I felt like this was like a place where I could be myself. I was learning how to be in a group and to be myself at the same time without giving up myself to be in a group. And it was around dream community specifically, but it's also spread to other parts of my life where I let myself feel belonging, feel trusting. And so I actually have, pictures of zebras. People have given me pictures of zebras over the years. I have them on my wall. I got little statues. I got blankets. It's really a talisman. And that was probably 10 years ago, this zebra dream. So this was definitely a good dream. And working it in the group and feeling into it really made it blossom out into a really good dream. And whereas it was kind of neutral, but as I felt into it and explored it, I started to say, oh, okay, there's something really positive here.
Yeah. And to me, it also sounds like it's one of those dreams that keeps giving. That, it's not like you just had it one done and that was it and never thought about it again, but you could always go back to that dream.
Absolutely. There's so many dreams. I'm amazed about that. The dreams can really stay with me. Often I can even look at an old dream I haven't thought about in years and it kind of rises up in me. I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, that's meaningful for me even now. But I would say this is, certainly I was going to say it's like a big dream in the Jungian terms but I've also worked with it. So that kind of, in some ways I've kind of made it a big dream. So that when you work with a dream and deepen it, it really does enrich the experience. And so I love that you really encourage people to work with their dreams because I do too.
Mm-hmm. Such an important message. And on that note, we are going to take a short break. We are speaking with dreamworker Katherine Bell all about dreams, and we'll be right back. What do Thomas Jefferson, Elias Howe, and Paul McCartney have in common? They all understood the value of dreams, and as a result, the ideas, inventions, and creations from their dreams affect us to this day. What great ideas are you leaving on your pillow at night? Sign up for a complimentary consultation at my website, thedreamcoach.net, and discover why your dreams are a terrible thing to waste.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Yes, welcome back to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, and we're speaking about dreams with dreamworker Katherine Bell. Well, Katherine, as dream workers, we all say that all dreams can give us meaningful insights. Do you think that happy dreams can give us different types of insights than the darker dreams?
Absolutely. The happy dreams for me are kind of like invitations. And I don't think a dream ever comes to tell us something that we're not ready for. I would say that as for the really dark dreams, I give you permission to say, okay, I'm not ready for that one. So maybe your waking mind, you're like, okay, maybe I can put that one aside. But the happy dreams for me open up places that I'm already starting to open up. Like this sense of belonging. Like I had the dream before the retreat, but there was some way I'm starting to get ready for that sense of belonging. And that the dream like really reflected to me what was opening up. So I think of dreams, of this kind of a dream as an invitation. Like it's like, step into the part of myself that feels connected, that feels loved, because it's hard to let ourselves feel loved just for who we are, not necessarily because of the things we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, because I was thinking of, a dream that I had a while back, and what I would call a happy dream. In the dream, I was in my childhood bedroom. I was looking out the window, and outside where the street should have been was this giant merry-go-round, and it was making lots of noise, that calliope noise that the merry-go-rounds would make and going around. And it was beautiful. I woke up feeling really happy and wonderful and really glad I had the dream. And the interesting thing about it was that at the time I had the dream, I was in the middle of doing a lot of deep inner work, and which dealt with having to deal with childhood traumas and, coming to face with how that was affecting me as an adult. And I thought I was having this dream as a reminder of, everything in my childhood wasn't bad. There were some wonderful things. One of them having actually been actual merry-go-round, because my parents knew the owners of the amusement little park area that was in the town I grew up in. So I got to ride on the merry-go-round all the time. It was great. And I had this dream. In the house I grew up in, I actually lived in 2 different bedrooms, but the dream that this took place in was the bedroom I was in as a young child, when the same age that I was dealing with in my work in the real world. So I thought, yes, this made an awful lot of sense to me. And it was great. Yeah.
Can I offer some thought about that? But when you finish what you were going to say, and then I have something I want to offer about that when you're.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Well, I just like that you were talking about doing this deep childhood work around trauma and difficulties. And this calliope shows up to show you, like you said, that the childhood was not all bad, that there were fun parts of the childhood. And one of the things that I think dreams are so valuable at is reframing our past. And that it's not about forgetting the past or denying that anything ever happened, but instead of feeling like a victim, that the dreams step by step kind of lead me to a place where I can be the heroine of my own story. And it can become a story about how I survived, which is like such a hopeful story, so that even the horrible things that happen to people, that the dreams kind of help me reframe these things as like, yes, and I survived, and this is how I survived, and this is how I am a strong person now. And so that reframing of the past is such a powerful part of dream work. People are often like afraid to open their dreams. They say, "Oh, I don't want to talk about my dreams. Like, I'm never going to tell anyone about my dreams," because they often can be very difficult. But what happens as you do go into the dreams is that, yes, they do open up difficult situations, but they don't leave you there. They don't just say, "Oh, yes, you had a horrible experience in childhood. That's it." It's like you have this experience, and then the dream slowly brings support, and maybe like you start to recognize like this beautiful thing in your childhood of going to the amusement park, or maybe the beloved aunt who would come over and cook me dinner when my mom couldn't. And, that there were these helpful figures in my life. And it's like, that's part of the treasure hunt that I think of as the dream work. It becomes a treasure hunt in waking life too. So this kind of, for me, ties in with a gratitude practice. And that there's a way that by just acknowledging the things I'm grateful for, even if it's very small things, that I start looking for things to be grateful for. And that's well documented. You can tell I'm the scientist. I'm always going to the research. But there's a way that has been documented to improve moods and make people more resilient, to have gratitude and to have some kind of a gratitude practice, to notice the things that are good in life. And I believe the same with dreams, that we start to notice those good moments in dreams, and it can help us to reframe our life. So the treasure hunt in the dreams can play off with the treasure hunt in our waking life.
And it makes so much sense, because so often, if we think about our past, or even just the past being the day before yesterday,
yeah, exactly.
Well, we tend to remember the things that didn't go right, or this person pissed me off, or this didn't go the way I wanted it to. And we forget about, oh yeah, but this person gave me a hug, and this person did something nice to me. And you forget about that. You really want to dwell, because our minds always dwell on the negative if we're not paying attention. And I think one of the valuable things about dream work is it does make us more attuned to ourselves, so that when we hear or we feel those negative thoughts creeping into our brain, we could say, no, stop it. I don't need this now. Let me go on to something else. But in preparing to talk with you and thinking about all these dreams, it reminded me of what you might consider a happy dream that was actually turned out to be a life-saving dream. And this was something that was told to me by someone I think you know, my mentor, Kelly Sullivan Malden. And this happened to her a number of years ago. And she wouldn't mind me telling the story because I think it has a lot of useful elements to it. She was doing a radio show and somebody called in and said, tell me out with this dream. There's really not too much to it. In this dream, I see faces smiling at me. What does it mean? And Kelly had a brief talk with this woman. She says, sometimes dreams don't need any deep interpretation or deep meaning. This dream is just telling you, smile. So if you're asking me to tell you what to do, I'm telling you, smile. And, the caller went away and that was it. Well, about 6 months later, Kelly gets an email. This woman says, hi, I don't know if you remember me. I was the smile lady. You told me to smile. What I didn't tell you at the time was I didn't have anything to smile about. I had just been diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. But I listened to you. I figured I have nothing to lose. You say smile. I'll smile. So every day I woke up, no matter how I felt, I made myself smile. And every day I would smile. And I'm writing to tell you that I just had my last checkup and they found no trace of the tumor.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it just so people will say, oh, that's just whatever. But, it just shows you the power of dreams and the power of our mind, the power of intention just goes there and it can make miracles happen. What we call miracles, but may actually be the brilliance of our dreaming mind working for our greater good.
Absolutely. What a beautiful story. I had not heard that story. That's amazing. And, there's surely something that the smiling that this woman was doing was boosting her immune system. And then also just people around her probably loved to help her because of her smile. And there's just something about that smile that probably did affect her resiliency and her ability for her body to fight off the cancer cells.
Probably. And also, because you bring up the point, when we have a positive attitude, it helps other people around us. It's infectious. It becomes infectious because all those other people are having all those negative, crazy thoughts going on in their heads. And you're smiling at them or you're saying a kind word kind of breaks that circuit also. And
yes.
it can become infectious.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And I was going to say, when I introduced you, I said that you do experiential dream work. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So this is something that as I started to open my own practice, and I had done a lot of classes with many other teachers, but I wanted to find my own take. And I was trying to explain to somebody the way that I see that dreams are helpful. And, I don't think dreams need to be interpreted. I think that they are their own entity and that they're already doing the best for us that's possible, but we can increase their power. And so I was explaining to somebody how the dreams are kind of like experiences that we have, and that we don't interpret experiences in waking life so much either, that it's all about the experience and what is it like to be in the experience. And I've got, experiential. So one of the ways I work with dreams is kind of like a dream basking thing, where I take a dream like that with the smiling faces, and I would let myself just see those faces and feel what it's like to be smiled on, and maybe imagine myself as one of those faces, and to let that feeling in and to trust that my system, my million-year-old human body has evolved in such a way that this is exactly what I need right now. And so what I want to do is enhance it. And so I go into the experience of the dream, and that is the gold is the actual experience.
So what happens when the dream is like a nightmare or something scary to the person? How does experiencing it help them?
A lot of times when we're in a difficult situation, we have to put our feelings aside and we have to say, okay, I can't feel this right now. Like we had the wildfires here last fall, and I live in Santa Cruz area, and there's burned trees all the way around my house. The fire came to my yard. I evacuated, and I was like sitting down in my van for 2 weeks, and it was like I didn't know if my house was around or not. I didn't know if a house had been burned down. We lost 1,000 homes. And I just couldn't deal with my own. I couldn't feel what I needed to feel. I couldn't feel my feelings, and that was a good thing. I think denial is a human superpower, that there's actually a way that denial is helpful. The only thing is that those feelings are still in there, and I need to come back around and feel them later. But sometimes we just keep putting off the later. And so those feelings kind of get stored in our cells, and I think they lead to sadness, certainly, possibly even physical illness, so that the feelings that we don't let ourselves feel for very good reasons are still there. And so sometimes the dream brings it back in this sad feeling. The extreme case is post-traumatic stress disorder, where this terrifying situation is so extreme that we really can't face it. And so it keeps bringing back the same image, and we never get to digest it properly. Most of us don't have as extreme situation, but even this fire situation, over the next 5-6 months, I kept having dreams around the fire and bringing up the fear, but it came with some companion. It came with somebody with me that I could feel held by, so I could feel connected to. So even as these scary dreams came back, I still could feel that support. So that's why even in the most scary dreams, I would recommend that you continue with the treasure hunt. I had a nightmare not long ago. It was just total chaos and disaster. And I had this story having that war with everybody. But in the middle of all this, I see this person who and I like in waking life, and she's just standing there. And then the dream goes on in chaos. But he was there. And as I worked the dream, that was like the treasure of that dream. And I got that I'm not alone, even in all this scary, chaotic business. So I got to find that lump of gold in among all the chaos and terror. So there's a reason that these feelings are coming up, but it doesn't mean we have to face them alone.
They're so important. What got you interested in dream work?
Oh, gosh, I've been interested in my dreams since I was little. I have all these several childhood dreams that are very meaningful to me. There was just something that seemed true, something that was really speaking to me about the dreams. I'd wake up in the morning like, there's something true here. So I started doing groups. I led a Jeremy Taylor style group for a long time. That was super helpful. And I was very disconnected from my feelings. There's a whole story we could go into, but I don't know what we're doing for time here. But there's a way that I was very disconnected, very intellectual. I have a PhD in astrophysics. I'm very cut off at the neck and was very separated from my body. But as I worked with my dreams, the dreams started bringing up the feelings that I was not willing to feel. And over time, I have become more connected to my body. I have more to go. We're never done until it's done. But there is a way that the dreaming really felt like it was anchoring me in my body, so I could feel my belly. I could trust the words of my heart. And it comes up to my intuition as well, that I can start to trust my intuition. I might just get a little flicker of, something. And then my mind wants to go, ignore that. But now I know better. Now I know, what was that? So I can turn toward those. And that, I think, is part of the gift of the dream world, is to learning to trust myself. And that's what I wish for all the dreamers listening now, and to you, Debbie, of course, is that that I learn to trust myself ever more deeply.
A lovely way to end this. I just have one final question, which is, how can people find out more about you and your work?
Absolutely. Thank you, Debbie. My webpage is experientialdreamwork.com. I also have a podcast, which is called The Dream Journal, and it's available on all the major podcast platforms. It's also a live radio show Saturday mornings. And if you go to my webpage, you can find out how to tune into that show. You could look me up on Facebook and Instagram as well, Experiential Dreamwork.
Wonderful. Katherine, thank you so much for being on Dream Power Radio today. We've been speaking with dreamwork practitioner Katherine Bell. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. If you have, please tell all your friends, follow me, and drop a positive review on your podcast site. And if you're on Clubhouse, join me in my club, Club Dreams, where I host weekly clubs rooms on all aspects of dreamwork. Until next time, this is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International.